In the aftermath of the conquest of Hattusha by the enemies of the Hittites, the royal family fled to Shamua, one of their many vassal cities, and from there they began the monumental task, as it's been called by Bryce Trevor in his The Kingdom of the Hittites book, of reconquering the Anatolian lands that once belonged to them. And they accomplished this by, turning to the greatest general the Hittites ever had, Shuppi-Lulumus. No, I think it's pronounced Shuppi-Lulumus. Try saying that 5 times fast. Now, he wasn't just some average general who, in a history of mediocre generals. Now, there were a lot of middling generals in Hittite history, as you'll see with Hattusili III and his brother, I think it's Muwatalli II. But Shuppi-Lulumus was truly an embodiment of everything a Hittite king should be. Him and his son, Mershli II. And it is from Shamua that he began his reconquests of the Anatolian landmass. And we know this from the deeds of Shuppi-Lulumus, that, that he accomplished these great deeds, and that he started with a series of campaigns against the Kashkin tribes in the name of his father, Tudalia. Tudalia would have the joy of winning a great series of victories, won for him by his son, over the Kashkins, and as they pushed them out of the Hattusha area and from the northeast of the kingdom, appeared a new enemy in the form of the Hayasha people, who had joined in the attacks on the Hittite lands, ravaging the upper land, and just generally causing nothing but mayhem and trouble. So they had to be pushed out. So Tudalia didn't get time to enjoy his great victories, won for him by his son. But the greatest victories took place, at least in the early Reconquest period, took place in the land of Arzawa, where, in the words of the deeds of Shuppi-Lulumus, he won a great clash in the lower land, as it's called. The gods helped my father, the sun goddess of Arena, the storm god of Hatti, the storm god of the army, and Ishtar of the battlefield, so that my father slew the Arzawan enemy, and the enemy troops died in multitude. And now, the Arzawan enemy did end up putting up a really good fight, despite Shuppi-Lulumus's words. And the clash took place near the city of Tuanua in the northernmost limits of the Arzawan Hittite area. Now, the Arzawans continued to threaten Hittite interests in the peripheral areas for a while, as the Arzawan king refused to surrender. And Shuppi-Lulumus would end up having to come back a few more times until he at last conquered it later in his life. And by later, I mean just a little bit down the road. Next time, we're going to get into more detail of a major incident that would shake up the kingdom of the Hittites for a long time, psychologically and politically, as Shuppi-Lulumus would cross a Rubicon of sorts, the Hittite Rubicon. So if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment.